Oh boy. Wait, is it
Uh,
geeky to emo or nerdy to emo?
And
Nerdy.
then it's nerdy to
Also,
emo
Oh.
makeover.
and also, that doesn't look emo. Wait, am I like really out of
I
touch in
mean,
terms of what emo
Well,
means?
yeah,
one,
that's...
yes, Austin, you are out of touch, but two,
That's fair. That's fair.
it's not like the most emo. It's more, I think, I don't really, it's scene.
Because
Scene
like, what
the
is
word
that
for
first
that.
girl? What is right? Yeah, that's definitely seen because that first girl is listening to emo in her room. I'm certain of it. Look at her wallpaper.
Yeah, these could just be like this is her on Tuesday and this is her on Friday. These could just be
Yeah,
the same person, like existing. I mean, I guess they are the same person because it's a makeup.
because it's a makeover.
Existing
Yeah.
in tandem and not exclusive to. Is that just the Monster High logo?
Shut
Yeah.
up! Don't tell anyone. Can't get us in trouble. Twitch copyright lawyers will shut us down.
Is this a spoon?
No, that's a mirror, probably, right? No. What is
No,
that?
Stroking
it's
brush.
Oh,
Sure.
okay.
See, this is a full experience.
Man, there's a thing I want to say about this particular
Oh,
section
Ian,
of
you
the
need to
games.
scroll down.
Oops, sorry. There we go. There's a thing I want to say about that this particular section of a lot of the games, but one of the things that I've picked out for Austin to play, because that's how this challenge will work,
Wait.
is a good example of it
Wait.
that I'm really
Time
looking
out.
forward
This
to.
linear
What?
timeout.
What?
Why? When am I? What? I'm
Don't-
playing stuff. What?
Don't worry
What
about
am
it,
I
Austin.
supposed to? Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
I was trying to be too hands-on with the goop. I just need to click. Okay, I got it. I got you.
You should know that from your copious beauty experience to never be too hands-on with the goop.
No. Oh god.
Um,
Okay.
But so these the kind of games that we looked at in the LP. This is definitely one of the types that I felt like really I really needed to send to you guys to play for real, which is this kind of very linear makeover game where before you can play the dress-up game, you have to just linearly progress through all these like clicking tasks that remove layers of ugliness from this model. And basically are there for no other purpose than to just teach the little girl playing this game that like this is what you have to do. This is your normal beauty regimen, and like this
But
girl
it's
looks
not.
like
It's
she's
not
like
normal.
14.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff, I think I also didn't really touch on this in the LP, is that a lot of the stuff that you do in these games, like put on like cold cream and stuff like that, that's stuff that like some older women do in order to keep their skin looking young, but it's not something that you do when you're a teen or even when you're in your 20s. It's something you might do if you're in your 40s and 50s.
Also, I guarantee the vast majority of women don't own one of those whatever the hells we were just using to pop all her whiteheads.
Yeah,
and
those
blackheads
whitehead
and stuff.
things. Yeah. And
It's just-
and yeah. And since none of it is like directly maps to a product, it's just sort of building this anxiety over
Right.
what you should be doing,
A lot of it
and
just doesn't
then
make
you have
sense.
no idea how this maps to actual products you can buy. Like on there it says toner, which you can probably figure out. Like, oh yeah, toner.
It usually doesn't even say that.
Yeah, the things that say like cream, it's like what kind
What
of cream?
cream?
You go
Now
to the
you put on
drugstore,
the
there's
purple,
a billion
and then
kinds.
you put on the green, and then you put on the white with the kind of
It just-
pinkish things in it.
The message
and then
is
you're
like
pretty.
there is an endless amount of techniques that you need to do over and over again. There's always another thing to buy and another product to use and another technique to use to become more beautiful, right? Like this isn't the here's 10 tips to actually if this is a thing you
I don't
want
even
to
know
do.
what the thing that just happened was. I thought that was like an electric razor, but then it made her eyes brighter, so I don't.
Well, you said no eye games. But yeah, like it's not a practical guide to using such and such a product because you want to achieve a certain look, right?
It is, I guess, from a really childish perspective, too, of like watching someone's beauty routine and then imitating it. It's like, well, then she put stuff on her face like forever. So put a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
on your face for a long time.
Like Melissa in that episode of Home Movies.
Yes.
And then the real thing is
100%.
that you don't always
skin
you
color
don't
options
really
here at
get the
all?
follow up of like this is what that product really like maps to in real life, and it builds up that this is normal and to use this much product all the time, and when that's just not the reality for being alive as a woman.
Like, here's the question, girl games: what does cold cream do? I think it's a wrinkle thing. I don't even really know.
Yeah, I think it's a wrinkle thing, and I mean like.
How about some face dirt? How about that?
You gotta get
dirt
the
on
grit.
her face.
I'm gonna go for like Dickens emo. Is that okay?
Wait. Like a ragamuffin? Like a little... Like how much porridge has she
Dickensian
eaten?
My Chemical Romance fan.
That exists. That's definitely a
My
fan.
Chemical Romance was the band that me and my group of friends really liked when we were at like late high school, early college.
Right.
Two of my friends were part of the MC Army forums, and that was how I came to learn that fan fiction about real people was a thing that existed.
Oh God, also I don't like this eyeshadow. It's misleading. Because the outline is the same color as the button, so I didn't know I was in for that. I was just getting a nice little smoky eye. And sold a bill of goods. See, again, I didn't want the pink, I just want the cat eye. What are you doing to me here, Geeky to Emo Makeover? These are all awful.
Another thing about these games is that like none of the looks or anything seem pulled from anywhere. Like they're not pulled from fashion magazines, so they're just like made up.
Yeah, and they're often just like, there is a degree of like fantasy. Like none of those eye makeup options did anything for me. Just as like a person who is into makeup, I like makeup, but none of this is like relatable or recognizable to me as someone who uses makeup.
Like, that's the thing
it's
here
just
too.
So again, like that really childlike perspective of, and then her eyes were all purple and blue and is really cool.
That's like the whole thing here, right? Like it's not. This is kind of part of what you were trying to get at in that piece today too, and I know DVac, what you were trying to get at throughout the Girl Games LP was like. No one is saying, "Oh, fuck all makeup, burn your makeup." No one is saying that
tree
plain dress up
eyelashes.
is bad.
Yeah, we're third wave intersectional feminists. We're not we can wear makeup.
Right, absolutely. And
I'm gonna go for like a Dickensian My Chemical Romance fan who's also like a quarter ent.
1/4 ent.
Yes.
Wait.
She just put grass seed like in her eyes.
This is gonna be. She's like. There's going to be, like, a Monster High, but it's going to be, like, crossed with Guardians of the Galaxy. And she's going to be, like, Groot? Is that the character's name?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Like, Groot's,
good
like,
hustle.
Niece.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Groot has a niece. Gruda, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible name. We could workshop that.
Marvel, get us on the horn. We're ready to help.
Here's the other thing. Again, like, real disconnect from reality. To get colors like this, you would not be able to use a little lip gloss. You need a stick.
Yeah.
You just have to. There's a
and you gotta put something on,
here
something else on, to like keep that color on the whole time.
You can put concealer on your lips, and that gives it something to like grip onto, and also makes the color pop a little more. We're getting a little technical here, a little inside makeup baseball, but. You know how
I'm
we
learning
do
a lot.
here on
This is
StreamFriend.
yeah.
That's our spin-off series, Inside Makeup Baseball with DVac and Janine.
That was one of
There's
the things
actually
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, through the LP actually, because and probably this is also related to the fact that I got so much weird feedback about trans women throughout the LP. Afterwards, I was inspired through a couple of different conversations with non-binary and trans women about how little people who are socialized as male or are brought up having to be more masculine publicly, don't learn all of this stuff.
Right.
So, like, we're here talking about the little girl's experience of, like, ever since we're very, very small, cis women are socialized to be like, oh, this is what you should want to be. This is how you do it. This is how you be
get
a
those
woman.
Barbie makeup heads that come with, like, the watercolor paints you put all over her face.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And if you don't have that, then maybe it takes until you are an adult or a high school student before you are like, oh, hey, like I'm actually a woman, or I want to do feminine things, and where do I go for resources on that?
Sure.
And there are resources, but there are limited ones. And it actually, this is still a project that I want to do. The idea was to start kind of a Girl 101 type video geared at giving actual advice about this kind of stuff, because there are so many mixed messages, and I have half of a video that I never really finished, but I want to finish, basically about an adult's intro to makeup.
I don't need to print this. Oh
yep, print this out.
Yeah, print it out.
Print it out as a PDF. Just print it as a PDF so you can save it forever.
And basically explaining, like, what is makeup and how do you do it? How do you buy it? What are the... Concealer comes in, like, all these different forms. Foundation comes in all these different forms. Right. How do you, like, what do you buy if you've never bought makeup before?
If no one's been, like, force-feeding you that information for the last 20 years... Like, and you suddenly have decided to become interested in it, yeah.
Doing that from the perspective of, like, there's so many, like, makeup gurus and stuff, but they're impenetrable. Like, a lot of the stuff that they talk about is just... the things that they think are simple are, of course, affected by the fact that this is a thing they've been doing for a really long time and are, like, super
and it's
adapted to, and...
It's very much for cis women, and there's even some stuff in it that's like, this is explicitly for cis women, and it can feel. I mean, some of the ones that I watched while trying to look at stuff was very like, ooh, I could see being made uncomfortable by this.
Yeah.
And so much of it is super impenetrable. I mean, I didn't really. And then also just like women who didn't get into makeup right away.
Right,
like,
exactly. That's
intimidating and scary. Like, even if you didn't start when you were 13.
Yep.
Or they're even just it's just such a mess.
The dude equivalent of that is Giant Bomb's Dan Reichert on a recent podcast, or might have been a live show, was talking about how he doesn't shave because he doesn't own any shaving gel, and the only time he only shaves with an automated razor, with like an electric razor. An electric razor, thank you. Because the only time he tried to shave with like a regular blade, he didn't have any shaving gel or cream, and it hurt him a lot, and he just like never went out to buy any because he doesn't want to wash his hands after he shaves.
And
that's
the worst part.
And like, poor
I
baby.
thankfully had dudes in my life who were able to, like, Austin, like, you need to shave here. Like, use this, like, yeah, now do this. And, like, the way you groom yourself is obviously a kind of a culturally taught thing, but there are lots of people who decide at some point in their lives that they want to change what they're doing in terms of personal style, personal fashion, and having that sort of a resource, I could see being really good for a lot of different people, whether you're trans or, like you said, you're suddenly in your 20s and like you've never been a makeup person and suddenly you want to, you know?
And you want to learn from someone who doesn't like, who isn't like making detailed paintings of the New York skyline with their eyeshadow.
Yeah, you wanted something a little more practical. This actually reminds me of when I was, 14, I guess, 13 or 14, when my mom took me to the Ulta store to get the first makeup that I ever got. And like I was very not feminine, as I talk about in the LP. I was super not feminine when I was a kid. And so I show up at the Ulta store, and the woman expected me to know a lot more than I actually knew.
Sure.
And so I just basically like sat down in a chair and was like, so what's this makeup all about? And the lady goes, so do you have oily or dry T-zones? And I just was like, what? What?
Yep.
I'm sorry, what?
Combination, or are you like oily combination? Are you like a winter or a summer?
And I didn't know any of those words, and she was like, so you can be like, yeah, you can have an oily or dry or combination. And I was like, well, isn't combination just not answering your question? and and so I was really like, I don't know how this works, please explain it to me. And it's because my mom like didn't even ever really wear makeup except when we were gonna be somewhere. And it was just, and it was so obtuse and clandestine to me as a 14-year-old girl.
Sure.
And I would think if you're even a little bit outside that experience, then it becomes a lot. And I sort of revisited it again when I was 21, and I finally started wearing dresses because after I got my insulin pump, I was like, I can never wear a dress anymore because I don't have anywhere to put my insulin pump. And so I finally like got over that and was like, I'm gonna put this on a garter and wear it. And they make those. They make garters with a pocket on them. You just have to like,
cool.
you have to,
That's awesome.
It's basically like people can tell that it's there, and you have to be confident enough to be like, well, fuck you. I know there's like this weird lump in my skirt, but I'm still gonna wear this dress anyway.
Mm-hmm. So what's next now that you've gone from nerdy to emo?
I'm a little scared about what's next.
And
Given
emo?
the conversation we just had.
Next is Girl in the Ambulance.
Oh no.